Hey everybody, it is Tyler and Mark here for the Buffalo Community Podcast. We have a kind of a very interesting episode today, and you're all seeing it, and you're going to see it in a couple of different formats. You are going to see us interview the three mayor candidates for the city of Buffalo, which include Eric Anderson, Terry Lockmeyer, and Susan Mattson. And we're doing these interviews separately and actually on different days. But they have a list of questions that you guys helped us come up with, and a couple that we came up with for them as well. But let's get started with our introduction, and then we'll kind of go what to expect.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reese and Mark Benzer.
Mark, welcome back.
Yeah.
That's right next to each other on here. This
Yeah, I
kinda
know. I'm not
brings
used
us-
to being this close to you.
Brings us back to December of 2019.
Right.
So when we first began this podcast, we said no politics. We were approached and I thought, well, this could be a good idea because local politics is nonpartisan.
Yep.
Absolutely nonpartisan. Nobody's running as a Republican or a Democrat or independent. It's nonpartisan. So don't worry. We don't get to any of that crap that, well, one, I think we're all going to have enough of it in the
Right.
2020 election.
Yep.
That being said, we want to give everybody a fair shake, and which means these candidates came in, and we're going to give the interview with them individually, and let them post that as well. But we're going to comprise this interview with us and all three of the candidates, but we're going to put them in a random order here. So I've got my special tool right here.
And randomizer.
Randomizer. So this is going to determine who we're going to hear from first, second, and then third. So doing random sections right here. So very first up, we're actually going to have Eric Anderson. And then let's see, we're going to make sure, well, I should have paid for the premium version.
You got an ad coming?
Yeah, Wheel of Fortune.
Buy
Oh,
it.
man.
You should buy it.
Buy it. Oh, that's not bad.
We'll be back after this.
Yeah. All right. Next up, to determine our second and third position between Terry and Sue is going to be Susan Mattson. And then to last but not least is Terry Lockmeyer. So that's going to determine our order of who you are going to hear from. I hope that you guys can stick around for the entire thing because this is all about Buffalo, the people in it, and how it all works together. So that being said, should we just jump right into it?
Let's do it.
I kind of totally overtook this introduction.
I love it.
All right,
I think it's
perfect.
great.
All right, let's get in with our first interview right now.
So next candidate up, we have Sue Mattson with us. And Sue, why don't you kind of get things kicked off here and tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised southern Minnesota and met my husband at St. Cloud State. That time of the years, you know, people would say you go to school to get your MRS degree. So anyway, I got one there. He's from the Rockford area. Immediately after graduating school, I went overseas, taught for the Army Dependent Schools in Europe, where I set up programming for children with learning disabilities. And we returned stateside in '72, settled here, and this is where we raised our family. Along that time, I was involved with a lot of community things, as happens when you have children.
Yeah.
And so did that and did a lot of volunteer work. Somewhere in the 80s, some people saw fit to give me a Buffalo Honored Citizen Award, so nice. I'm pleased with that. And anyway, so currently I teach inmates at the county jail, and I've done that for about 2 decades now.
What do you teach them?
Anything and everything. It's
Okay.
considered like a one-room schoolhouse. The class is life skills and adult basic education.
Sure.
We're so excited, we just now got the ability to test, to give GED testing,
Okay.
which that hasn't happened before. So anyway, I have students from a day or two to a year or so.
Sure.
And so we find
Awesome.
things to keep them busy.
So the reason we're here is you're running for mayor.
Yes.
I'm going to jump to question 3 versus 2, and then we'll go into that one. So
Sure.
why are you a good choice for mayor for Buffalo?
Well, again, I've lived here since '72, have seen many different factions of Buffalo over that time, appreciated our past, appreciate a future that we're going to have, and I think that my education background lends itself well to that. We certainly commend our teachers these days about all the innovation that they have to do and planning and preparation, and that's just in a way inherent in a teacher mindset. And so I bring with that what I think is my ability to lead well and bring coalitions together, and that's what I think that our city needs.
Sure. And then kind of piggybacking on that, jumping back to the second question is the role of mayor in Buffalo. Is it a weak mayor system? Is it a strong mayor system? And by that I mean, is it city council driven or is it mayor driven?
I think it depends on what the topic is. I think from my observations of attending council meetings and reading through minutes, I believe a lot of it is mayor driven. I'm not sure exactly why I get that. It's just my hunch. And I would like to see the council council can't act independently,
Right.
but I would like to see more, what I would think is more independent thinking among the council members.
Sure.
You had touched on a little bit, just good things that being excited about the future of Buffalo. What is it that you think is the best things that Buffalo have going for it right now?
The best things that Buffalo has is the people who live here, and where I see more and more their willingness to speak and to make their wishes known, to start forming a lot of coalitions. I think we've done that a lot in the past, like when a project needed to be done, such as Veterans Park or the playground or those kind of things. I just like to see it be more universal. I'm excited about the community center group that's been together since, as far as I can count back, it's 2009 that they've been working on their issues. Just the fact that they'll come together and speak up and
Sure.
wish to be heard.
Sure. And now let's flip it 180.
Okay.
What needs the most improvement for Buffalo?
Communication. Communication in a variety of ways. I think for people to feel more comfortable bringing their concerns, I'd like to see more participation. One of the things I have I have a kind of a 3C platform, which is community, communication, and competence. And in the community and communication, I would like to see a return of the student representatives on their ex officio members. But for our council and for our boards, I think that generation has a lot to offer. And so that would be one. I'd like to see the billboard sign go back up outside the community center. Not everybody has internet or subscribes to, looking for things there. I'd like to see a monthly newsletter. I would like to see just a variety of task forces used. So I see communication as the big thing.
Sure.
So, communication. Question number 8. How was it? You touched on it, newsletters, things like that. I don't know if you have any if you want to expand on that more, but how do you create a transparent line of communication with the people?
I would see it happening with our council members and the mayor more accessible. One of the things I'd like to see is that they would have a city email address, so it's kind of the same
Sure.
same thing and more accessible, and have that interaction back and forth. I'd like to see. It would be nice if there's just a time you could walk in, and talk with somebody,
Sure.
as opposed to doing it in whatever small forum time you have at meetings.
Sure.
And then communication comes as well as I am concerned that oftentimes agendas don't get out in time if there's an agenda for some meetings, and that the minutes aren't like right away.
Okay.
Even if they're draft minutes, I would like to see draft minutes
Sure.
published.
Okay. So look, we're kind of bouncing around here.
Sure.
Is we had some requests as far as communication goes, and none of us are immune to what's on social media. So we asked, what do you want to ask these candidates? We had a lot of questions about utility costs. Your thoughts on that? Any plans of what can Buffalo do? Because we hear a lot, utility costs are high. Expand on your thoughts on that section of utility costs and what Buffalo can do to maybe keep those in check.
Well, I've been at several public meetings, council meetings, where somebody comes in and explains what it is. It's confusing as all get out, as to what it would be. I would like to do a bit more study on that. I do a lot of my thinking through studying and research. I'd like to know more what's happening with other cities, because as you see in the social media, it says, yeah, but my city and, my city
Yeah.
this. And so I'd just like to
Yeah.
to know more about that from I'll call it an insider's point of view, as opposed to what generally comes out to the public.
Sure.
So,
Make sure we're doing okay on time here.
sure.
Thank you for that.
So we touched on utility costs. How about everybody is interested in keeping taxes affordable, keeping taxes low. So how do we, while we're trying to develop and grow Buffalo, not only downtown but on the edges of town, keeping taxes low? Any thoughts or ideas on how that could be accomplished?
Well, I had mentioned before we came on air, I'm glad you put the edges of town in there, because there's just so much focus right now on downtown, and Buffalo is more than downtown. As far as the taxes go, again, another area of study. We're fortunate that we have in this city the financial advisor person that can work with that more. I don't have the answers on taxes, but I think when you put enough people together, we'll find those answers.
Yep. So, let's expand on it a little bit as far as developing the edges of town.
Yes.
We kind of talk about that. Any ideas of that? Not just focusing on downtown, which is actually a great segue. How do you envision not only downtown, but the edges of town in Buffalo for the next 10 years?
The existing comprehensive plan, which is set to be redone for a 2040 plan coming up, but the existing plan had some beautiful ideas for parkways and things that would kind of circle the outside of town, that there would be more inviting approaches to town on any of our entrances here. And so I see that happening. The development, according to that plan, the existing one, says that the bulk of our expansion should be toward the east. And so, acquiring the property, I have concerns how the airport's going to fit in that piece in terms of being able to expand to keep up with what we have. But the airport people, they're pretty good, about staying on top of that. So, so that would be one. But to see that our developments, I'm happy about the Greenbrier Hills development that's out there. Some of the things that they're doing have yet to see it happen, but some of the things that they're proposed out there is that they would have community gardens there, I think there's an orchard slated for out there, that they've got, their own walking trails. So just keeping things green, maintaining communities within our community is important to me. And so that's how I see that happen. And I think will be an inviting place for people to expand there.
Sure. In as mayor, is there any plan as far as or ideas on how to attract people to come in? And the reason I ask for that is because I think social media gets a misconception of what the mayor's responsibility is. You know, it's not, if you're a mayor, it's not your responsibility to open up X business or close X business.
Right.
It's really to make an environment that people want to come to Buffalo. You know, do you have any ideas on bringing that stuff in as external people that currently don't live in Buffalo?
Some of that, I think, is already happening with the downtown, the Chamber of Commerce. You know, is working on doing a lot of promoting and all of the businesses within there. And then their activities that they're bringing here, such as the kites and the Buffalo Days, which of course, you know, we didn't have this year, but bringing people in for that, and then hopefully when they're here, they'll see that this is a nice place. You speak of the social media, you know, and a lot of the chat on there is it's just making it for old people and, you know, not the young people. And I had mentioned before, I'd like to see more of our students involved on our council and in our advisory boards, and tap them for, you know, things that they know, things that they think would be important. And then beyond that, we have the HRA. And HRA has a lot to do right now, as we know, with the housing things that are being built. I'd like to see more attention being paid to and funds going to developing some of our neighborhoods and the houses that already exist, and giving people a hand up for that, developing different types of programs that's within their ability to do.
Sure. Yeah, as we're kind of getting through these questions, a lot of them intertwined because
Sure.
they're kind of answered after other ones.
Right.
Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that maybe we haven't yet, or maybe the message that you want to give to the citizens of Buffalo or, you know, potential voters?
Okay. I just wanted to speak a little bit to leadership style. And I see a mayor as being a leader. And I brought with me, there is, when you said, what's the duties of the mayor and a weak mayorship thing. When we filed to be a candidate, we got this lovely packet of more stuff than you'd ever want to know about being a candidate. But a very simple one here that talks about, and it comes from the League of Minnesota Cities, the elected officials' duties and responsibilities. And it lays it out what you are and what you are not. And what you are not is not full of yourself as an elected official.
Sure.
And I'm about as real as they get, you know. And I want to talk about then the leadership style that I have is one where maybe it comes from the educator thing, but it comes from knowing when to effectively delegate, when to support, when to counsel, and when to direct people. Those are all within the abilities that a mayor has. So I could see myself as being a very effective leader and taking people where they are, finding out where they want to go. And you do that by, you know, first identifying what the problem is. Hopefully by identifying, you can prevent a lot of the problems, but identifying what the problem is, then researching the problem. And the last piece is to then execute whatever the situation is. So I just wanted to mention that that's my style, and it's gotten me where I am today.
Sure.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we're a little bit under time right now.
Okay. Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
One more thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I've not run for office before. The last time I ran for anything was Miss Blooming Prairie, Minnesota. So
nice.
my uncle promptly dubbed that Miss Blooming Idiot. But anyway, it worked, and I'm fine with that. But they, as far as the communications go, and in our time of COVID, I've tried to put together a campaign that makes things accessible for people, gives people enough information. And in my literature that will be coming out and on my webpage, can I say what it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, yep.
Very simple, mattsonformayor.com, and an email.
Spell out Mattson.
Yep. 2 T's S-O-N, M-A-T-T-S-O-n. And the email is mattsonformayor@gmail.com. And in the website, you'll find that I have arranged for meetups in our city parks for the 8 Saturdays after Labor Day till the Saturday before the election. 3 sessions on each day, 3-hour-and-a-half sessions, and I hope to see people there.
Sure.
And come to listen. I come to listen.
Sure.
Come to have some conversation and put all of us to work.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure getting to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I wish you the best of luck in November. And
Thank you.
This fall leading up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't bring all the frivolity that Hayes Public House did to you last one, but
Yeah.
but I hope this is informative. It was for me.
It absolutely
and I
was.
appreciate being able to sit with you.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully you found the conversations first and foremost informative.
Yep.
Kind of a different format than what we've established in the past, with a little more banter, a little more free form
I
conversation.
was going to say flair. I thought you were going to say flair.
Yeah, well, flair. Yep.
Yeah.
Would be another way to put it. But, trying to stick to a script and let the candidates,
Speak for themselves.
Yep.
And I think we should really send an extended thank you to our viewers. One, for submitting your questions. And I know we didn't get to everybody's very specific questions. We tried to generalize those questions in a forum where we have limited time, resources. We could talk forever, but sometimes camera batteries just run out.
Right.
But I think these are good questions that kind of encompassed everything that you guys wanted to ask. But there's one surprise. I am surprised nobody said the best thing going for Buffalo was the Buffalo Community Podcast.
Yeah,
So
right.
maybe, but we weren't the place that needed most improvement.
Right. So,
But we always want more improvement. So thank you for following us. All the contact information for each candidate is going to be posted on this and all of their websites, obviously, too. But if you can, like it, share it, find us on other social media aspects, subscribe, and, well, for the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reese.
I'm Mark Benzer.